needed the numbers. I mean, if Colin has other things to do, then I'm happy to be co-opted if Colin wants to get away. But
no, I'm here now, so
well done, Colin.
So willingly.
I'm an old trooper, aren't I?
Thank you, Colin. No comment. Okay, so we are now recording. So Ben, are you going to chair the meeting?
Okay, I will do. Right, so welcome everyone to the planning meeting on the 6th of April 2021. So just do we have a roll call or apologies for absence first of all, please?
Yes, we do. So I'll call out. So the apologies for absence that we have are councillors Gordon Thorpe, Diana Collins, Doug Terry and Caroline Green with valid reasons. I have Sandy Giles and Andrew Poodle down as absent, no apologies received. And then we have Rob Simonis, Ben Pitt and Colin Maslin present. If you can all say yes.
Yes.
Yep. Yes.
Thank you. And that's the roll call. And you are just about quorum, Chair.
Thank you very much. Okay, so does any of the committee members have declarations of interest they wish to declare? Or even if they don't wish to declare them, please do so. Okay, that's a no from everybody. Okay, so we'll move straight on to the minutes of the 16th of March 2021, which is in your agenda pack. Any corrections to put forward?
No, look good to me. I'll propose them.
Okay, and I'll second those for approval. All those in favour?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you very much. Okay, so public participation. So we've got a 10-minute public participation of any resident which to address the committee on any matter appearing on the agenda for this meeting. So
sorry,
I think
Ben.
Yep.
Have we read out the bit about recordings and?
Thank you very much. I haven't done that. Thank you very much.
Rob, thank you.
So please be aware, everyone, that this meeting is being recorded and will be made available to the public on our YouTube channel after the meeting has taken place. Your participation indicates your consent to being included in the meeting recording. So, yeah, thank you very much. Thanks for that, Rob. Okay, so shall we pick up just so who is here and what planning application you wish to speak on? So I can see Oscar and your name's not appearing until I hover over you. So John.
Yeah.
I think I recall meeting both of you previously. So am I right in thinking you are here for the? I'm going to scroll down quickly to appear very organised, but the home, is that right? The care home?
No, I'm here to object to one of the other items.
Pardon me. Okay. So Oscar, let's do one by one. So I mean,
right, I got that's confused me slightly. I'm guessing Oscar is how my laptop appears, but that's because my son is the IT.
Okay, right. Oscar's not here. That makes more
so
sense.
I'm Simon Richardson from Gamplan Associates. I'm here to.
What fun it is to have an expert.
Well, exactly. Here to give an overview on application number 5 on your agenda, which is the 7 dwellings and associated works at the site at Luke Street.
Okay.
And then answer any questions anyone may have.
Well, I'll stop guessing what everyone's here for and ask them. Is going to be much more successful. Okay, thanks, Simon. And then, so John, which application are you here to speak on?
It's 00343.
That's number 3.
Number 3. And are you speaking against that application? Did I catch?
Yes, I am. Yes.
Okay. And are you a neighbour
to
that property? Okay, that's great. And Councillor Chapman, what brings you here?
One forward. Can you hear me?
I can.
Can you hear me, Ben? 1//511/HHFUL.
Okay, so that's 45 Great North Road.
No.
Schedule number 8, Ben. It's the fire station, St Neots Fire Station.
Oh, okay. I don't know what I did there, but for the fire station. Thank you very much. Getting there slowly.
Yeah, the last chairman was a lot better than this.
Yeah, cheers. Okay, that's great. Okay, so if it's all right with everybody, I will move those 3 applications up the agenda. So we take them in the order they came up in this conversation. So we'll do Actually, so we'll do first of all number 5.
Okay. But didn't we have a number 3?
We have a number 3. Oh, we can do do them in order. Okay, we'll do them in numerical order.
The schedule. Yes.
Got it. Let's do that. Okay. Right, we are on to this schedule now, aren't we? Just haven't missed anything, I think. Okay.
No, we are on to it.
Good. I'm getting there. I'm catching up. Okay. So we'll look at application 21/00343/HHFUL, which is a proposed 2-storey extension to the side at 2 Chamberlain Way, St Neots. So John, you have 3 minutes to speak on that subject. So please go ahead. And if you'd like us to call up any particular plans as you talk, then please.
I'm not sure that'd be necessary, but I do refer to other things. I want to object to the planning application on the grounds that the extension encroaches onto land which is designated as amenity space. Now, there are 2 stretches of woodland to the east and west of Chamberlain Way and marking the northern fringe of the housing estate, and they were designated as amenity space with the planning application 95/1486, which was the construction of 55 dwellings. And it was one of the conditions that granting the planning permission that stretch of woodland was planted. Now, policy A4 of the St Neots neighbourhood plan and the subsequent point 1.5.5 state that, and I'll quote this, development should include landscape backdrop around the development for screening the site and for wildlife, and also for the provision of a green gateway into St Neots. And that's exactly what these wooded areas do. The status of the land as amenity space was confirmed to me in correspondence which I received from Huntingdon District Council on the 21st of September 2000 and the 22nd of December 2000, where they also stated their intention to adopt the land. Unfortunately, HDC did not adopt the land when most residents, including myself, believed that they had. The developers retained the land and subsequently sold it to number 2 Chamberlain Way. I've taken professional advice, and the understanding is that although the land has exchanged hands, the designation remains, and according to the correspondence from HDC, planning permission would need to be sought to change use, and this would be unlikely to be granted. Now, as custodians of this amenity space, the owners have already begun to nibble away at it by erecting sheds without planning permission and by felling trees, including a 22-year-old oak, to ensure that under item 6 of the application, they were able to answer no to both questions. That is, are there any trees or hedges on your property or adjoining properties which are within falling distance of your proposed development? And will any trees or hedges need to be removed or pruned in order to carry out your proposal? Unfortunately, they'd already done that. And this conflicts with the Huntingdonshire Design Guide 2017, which says existing landscape features such as trees and hedgerows should be retained, enhanced and complemented by those new landscape elements where possible. Now, I know that this planned extension only takes up a few metres of the amenity space, but I believe that by allowing the plans to go ahead, it might well set a precedent for use of the rest of the land, which in my mind, and probably in the mind of others, would be a tragedy for the preservation of green spaces in the town. And that really is my contention. Thank you very much for letting me speak.
Thank you, John. That is very clear. I really appreciate your input on this. Has any of our councillors got any questions for Mr. McLeod? Yep.
Yes, please,
Colin.
Ben.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I think this is possibly a little bit outside our normal area of expertise, a dispute over ownership or development of amenity space. I would be keen to see this be decided elsewhere. If this plan is encroaching on amenity space, I think other more experienced and knowledgeable people need to be involved. So I would move that this move goes to HDC.
I'd support that as well. I think the argument is very, very well put. It makes a lot of sense, but this feels like it's getting into essentially legal territory, etc., etc.
Okay, thank you for that. We have another commenter from our gallery. Councillor Chapman, would you like to go ahead, please? You're muted, though.
Thank you, Chairman. I am aware of this this particular application. It's not the one I'm here to speak about tonight, but I am aware of this application, and I am aware of the difficulties that HDC has recently found itself in identifying which land it has adopted and which it hasn't, and which land it had agreement to adopt. And I find it very, very disconcerting, and I'm sure the residents find it distressing that a green area along that road, which is part of the character and the nature of that area, should be subjected to planning permission. So I'm quite happy to take this up with HDC on behalf of those here tonight, if need be. It is in my ward, so it's something I'm happy to cover.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Chapman. I think so. From my point of view, the whole issue around amenity space, and we've had this a few times before at this committee. I think just to clarify, Mr. McLeod, I think it sounds very much like you are well aware of the planning system, but just to clarify, we are a statutory consultee, so we don't decide on the planning application, but our comments are considered by HDC, who is the deciding body.
I understand that you have an advisory role. Yes.
Yeah. So in general, when similar applications have come up, in terms of sort of developing front gardens and side gardens, I'm very much I'm not in favour of those in principle, because, as you say, it's amenity area, and the appearance of the street is affected by putting a wall around what is currently sort of open space at the front of houses or on the street. In terms of the legal situation, that probably is something for HDC officers to wrangle with, and we're not in a position to do so. But I think if we're satisfied that there is an issue, for us to vote against, or to come out against this application as a point of principle, and then for HDC officers and and councillors, if necessary, to come to a conclusion on that point. I think it would just be good to ascertain that, in terms of just the planning application, that it does indeed encroach on what our resident has said is previously been demised as amenity space. Could you just mention you mentioned the planning application from, I think, the 90s, was it, that the original reference was?
Yes, it was an application for 55 dwellings in this area.
Yeah.
Yes, it was passed, I think, in February 1996. By then, I think the planting had already started. So, I mean, it's well, or maybe just after that. So it's been there for in excess of 20 years, certainly, and it's matured. And I mean, at this time of the year in particular, you have the May coming out, you have some trees, and, it forms a fantastic bit of space for us outside, and people who drive into the estate recognise it as a wild area. And it does actually encourage wildlife. We've seen all sorts out there from our front window. And it'd just be a pity if it's not so much the development itself, it's the precedent that it might set. It's wrong really in my mind that this space should even be owned by anyone else other than the council.
I take your point.
Yeah.
Maxine, could you just jump back to the previous plan that you had on the screen? I'm not sure which one it was. So actually, it might be one before that. Okay. Yeah.
So
great.
That's existing,
great.
and then that's your proposed.
Okay. And is there a key to explain what that dotted line? Actually, if you just jump up to the location plan again.
I believe the dotted line is the point at which the fence, which is now not there any longer, divides the amenity space from the curtilage of number 2.
Okay. So before we move to a motion, have either of our other two councillors got any thoughts on where this appears to be heading?
I feel that under normal circumstances, were the land in the exclusive ownership of number 2, I couldn't really see a reason to object. But that's not the case. There is a question mark over the ownership of the land. So therefore, I would like to take a position of agree in principle, but defer a final decision to HDC's legal experts.
Okay, just to be, I think I understand rightly that it's not actually an issue of ownership because the property owner has bought the land.
It is an issue of designation. I mean, my understanding, and I have taken professional advice on this, that a piece of land which is designated as amenity space stays as amenity space despite change of ownership. And that if you want to change the use of the land from, let's say, the public open space to a garden, then you have to get planning permission. I mean, I have 2 letters.
And that's what they're applying for now, sir.
Sorry?
And that's what number 2 is applying for now. Change of use to
No.
No, they're not.
Border.
They haven't. In my mind, they would need to apply for change of use initially before they could then actually take it up. And Huntingdon District Council back in 2000 said that permission is unlikely to be given.
Okay, I think so. What I would propose then, from the chair, is that we reject this. We recommend to reject this application based on that it encroaches on land designated as amenity space.
So I'm happy to second that, Ben.
Okay. Are we ready to go to a vote on it? Sorry, I'm just trying to open a folder and dig out some files here. Any further comments before we go to a vote? Okay, so all those in favour of rejection because it encroaches on land designated as amenity space. Okay, that's everybody. Good stuff. So the comment will be encroaches on land designated as amenity space. I think I'd also like to add, is it loss? Let me try and find this.
10, I think, loss of trees.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it's trees. I think the trees have already gone. Loss of amenity space, is that on our list?
It's visual. We've got a visual amenity.
Yeah, that's fine.
Number 3, yeah.
Personally, I would say 16, which is local, strategic and regional and national planning policies. I mean, it does seem to contravene the policies in this, the St Neots neighbourhood plan and also the Huntingdonshire plan of 2017.
Thank you. I think I'd need to be a little bit careful, John, just in terms of in debate, we shouldn't really hear from the public. So although your input has been very, very welcome.
I'll put my point of view, sorry.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely fine. Okay, so would anyone else like to add? So we've basically got, encroaches on land designated as amenity space, visual amenity. Does anyone want to add anything else? Any from our council?
No, I think that, personally, I think that's fine.
Okay, and obviously, Mr. McLeod, you're very welcome, and I would encourage you to make the same representations to HDC if you haven't already.
I have already done that. Thank you very much.
Right.
Okay, I'll leave the meeting now, but thank you very much for letting me speak.
Thanks for your input. I really appreciate it.
Okay, thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Okay, so we now have application number 5, which is erection of 7 dwellings and associated works at the land adjacent to 31 Luke Street, Amesbury. We have Simon. I think Richardson is still the correct surname, hopefully.
It is, yes, although if he doesn't behave, I will disown him.
Yeah. Excellent. Okay. So would you like any particular plans on the screen before you talk, just as you talk about it?
I think the one that you've got there, the site plan, is a good place to start, and the other one, which is particularly pertinent to this application, is the I think it's billed as contextual street view or street scene elevation. Yep. I think it might be, or
just coming up now. Simon, is that the one?
That's the fella, the pretty picture. Yes.
There we go. Right. Okay.
Yeah,
right. Over to you then.
Okay, so I'm sure members will be aware of this site and the planning history, but if I do a very brief overview, so it's a site that was first discussed with HDC, however many years ago, several years ago, and initially it was looking at an overall development of 15 or 14, I think, properties, and then by application that then came down to 14, then 13, then 11, then 9, and then previously 8. And and the feedback from officers there was that it's clearly within the built-up framework of the town, so it's an appropriate location, but it's just a case of finding the right balance and making it work, so that you've got appropriate open space whilst allowing for access, parking, turning, and obviously dwellings which sit comfortably with their neighbours and don't overlook. So from the previous proposals for the site, were HDC had objections on two fronts. Firstly, the first property, which is labelled as plot 1, which is the trying to think how best to describe it. If you're looking down the driveway, so it's the one that you see. So previously that was a two-story property, and they felt that was I think unduly prominent in the street scene, I think was the reason given. So to look at a way of reducing the visual prominence of that property. And then the second area of concern they had, which was a sort of a collection of small scale fine tuning. So it was position of garden gates and confirmation that the parking spaces were all accessible by way of vehicle tracking, tweaking to bin store locations, etc. So the main change, apart from having come down in unit numbers to break up what previously was a large terrace of 5 properties and is now 2 pairs of 2. So there's your reduction in units. So the main change is that plot 1, which previously was a 2-story dwelling, is now a single-story bungalow. So if we're able to flip to the pretty picture, the other image, that is so that's a sort of an architecturally calculated. So that's a photo fed into the CAD machines. And as you can see, you've got the plot 1 property, which you can see there. I think, or I'm fairly confident we have suitably addressed the design, detailing, siting, scale, and landscaping, new planting, etc., so that property could not reasonably be considered as unduly prominent from the street scene when viewed from Luke Street. Everything else largely remains the same. You'll see the supporting information with the application. So we've got new planting going in there. We've had an ecological, that's the one. So we've got an ecological appraisal done just to make sure that there aren't any bats, badgers, unicorns, or anything that's sort of come onto the site, and there's not. But we have agreed with HDC. We're obviously happy to incorporate all of the regular bird and bat boxes and hedgehog homes and bug hotels and all the sort of thing, which hopefully makes it a nice place for everyone to live. So the scheme now is those 2 pairs of 70 detached houses, but they are dropped eaves and have been designed to sit comfortably with the neighbours, so there's no overlooking, loss of amenity. And then 3 bungalows, and again they've similarly been sort of evolved and tweaked and twiddled to ensure that they sit comfortably with their neighbours. And I think that plan, or there's possibly one which is labelled as overall site plan. So effectively, it's the other half of the Sandy Court development, which has been there for the last 8 or 10 years or so, and hopefully has sort of works very well and been. There we go. So you can see you've got the 4 properties already existing in Sandy Court, and then this would have properties of a similar design, detailing, layout, density, etc. on the other half of the site. So I imagine that's more than enough bluster for me, but I'm more than happy to answer any questions anyone may have. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Colin, go for it.
Yeah, thanks very much. I know HDC had some issues over bin lorry access. Have you addressed that, Simon?
Absolutely. So where we are, if Maxine or whoever is driving is able to zoom in, so just behind there we are. So we have bin collection point, which accords with the respective carry distances for the operatives. So the bin lorry doesn't have to come onto site. So the bin lorry is at the end of the driveway on Luke Street, and those carry distances are now within their sort of criteria. So as you see, it's actually annotated. So the furthest bin is 22.8 meters, and I think we've got to be within 25 meters of the carriageway. So the bin collection point's in the right place.
Thank you.
Plus also so that, and again, I'm hopefully not giving away too many secrets here, but designing around bin collection is, in my mind, not the appropriate way to go. However, it's where we are. So if the bins have to go in a particular place to tick a certain box, so be it. but in order so that what we don't have is a bin collection point with a development behind it, or certainly that's not the perception. As you see, we then have some strategic landscaping, so we actually have trees and shrubs going in there, which again, if you flick back to the photo montage, so that hopefully there we are. So hopefully the impression that the development gives out to the outside world is not, here are some wheelie bins and here are some houses behind them.
Right, thank you very much. That's fine.
I'm happy we've
answered the
addressed that hurdle. Yes.
Thank you.
Okay. Any questions from you, Rob?
No.
Okay. Maxine, do you have our previous comments to the application on this site to hand?
No, I can find it, because what was the other application number, Simon? Do you have that to hand?
I can.
Originally came at, was it 2020 or 2019?
I think possibly. Yeah, it's either 18 or 19. But so I'm trying to check. I'm trying to check myself. Hang on, I can check on my
sorry to put you both on the spot.
No, it's okay.
Do it myself.
I know that we'd. But
here we go. How about 19, 12, 38 possibly as a.
Hang on, 19.
And then
12, 38, and then HHFU. Would it be? Oh, was it out? Was it being out?
No, it was a full application.
I think there might be a 0 in there somewhere.
There will be up to the 19.
Talking amongst
0,
yourselves.
1, 2, 3, 8. Yeah.
Whilst you're talking amongst yourselves, I think the fact that you've reduced the first building to a bungalow, and you've reduced the number of properties on the site, to my mind, has solved the issue. I find this quite acceptable development now, and subject to any other discussions, I would recommend this for approval.
Okay, thank you, Colin. It's good to know. I'm just doing a search for the address. So
I think this has been to us, what, 3-4 times before?
Yeah, I'm just trying to.
Yeah, I mean, with applicant's hat on, yes. I mean, it goes back, I think, to 2014, when originally we were looking at 14, 15 units as discussed with HTC. Yeah. And then as and when we put an application together, it's then a question of, although that number of units may be fine as a matter of principle, it was making it work. So we sort of stepped down, but I'm happy with where we need to be now.
I think that photo, by the way, is wrong site, isn't it?
Oh, sorry, I'm on. No, that's another one.
You're jumping ahead of yourself, Maxine.
Right. Okay. So I found the last time we saw this, which was the 1st of September of last year. So the
last year.
Yeah, I think so. Have you seen it since then?
No, I was just saying. I thought it was 19. Simon said that's
yeah. So
19.
We've got so erection of 7 dwellings and associated works. Same site. So it was rejected, and the notes are previously rejected: adequacy of parking, loading, turning, highway safety, traffic congestion, effect on listed building and conservation area, layout and density of buildings, demonstrable harm to the immunity of the residents. So we're fairly scathing about the application. On that occasion, I think it's safe to say.
Try not to take it personally.
They have reduced the number of properties there.
Yeah, well, so that was still of 7 dwellings at that point.
Oh, was it? Okay.
Yeah. So there's quite a lot to take in there. Would it be possible just to call up the site plan again, please, Maxine? So I'm aware of the time. We've got quite a lot to get through, but I don't want to rush this either. Okay, so parking, loading and turning. So the turning circles, I mean, I would say that the turning circles are not great for that top left car spot. You've basically got to reverse quite a long way in or out into that. I'm not necessarily saying this is the be all and end all.
Yeah, there is. I appreciate, rather than contributing to the discussion, but hopefully sort of helping. There is a vehicle tracking drawing that the county have sort of signed off on in amongst the application docs.
Okay.
Just look for it while you're talking.
Yeah. Okay. So highway safety, traffic congestion. So evidently, so the existing access basically and the new access, works together to give two-way traffic flow, which I don't necessarily think I was aware of last time I saw this. And then we've got effect on listed building and conservation area, which is pretty subjective, really. But layout and density of buildings, I know that has come down significantly over the years. And then demonstrable harms to the amenity of the residents. Okay, here we go. So the space at the bottom left of those 5 drawings is the one I was referring to. Yeah, okay. Thoughts, councillor? So Councillor Maslin it sounds like he's reasonably happy to vote in favour.
Yeah, I
Councillor
am.
Simonis, have you got any thoughts either way?
No, I mean, I think, yeah, I mean, some of the turning does look snug, and some of the other elements that are more subjective, but I think those are probably points that HDC is better to rule on, and I don't see an issue with this as it's being presented from our perspective.
Okay. If either of you would like to put forward a motion?
Yeah, I put forward a proposal to accept this, subject to obviously HDC's recommendations.
Okay.
Yeah, seconded.
Seconded. Okay. All those in favour? I'll take those 2 people. I will vote against. Not that it particularly matters, because it is approved by this committee. Okay, would one of you like to propose some numbers for that then?
Colin, I'll defer. Is there a number for previous objections have been worked through and?
There isn't, but I think we can say something like that.
But we can make one up, Bob.
Yeah. What would you like to say? The applicant has addressed concerns regarding previous applications.
Yes,
And
then
this,
we can make
this application seems to fit in with the local street scene.
Yeah, I was going to make
We've got
comments
a
on
touch
this
of 41 in there. What do you think, Rob?
Yeah.
Okay. Does that sound okay?
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, lovely.
Yep, thank you very much. Thank you.
Great. Thank you very much, Simon, for your time.
Lovely. Thank you. Thanks, everybody. I'll give my son his laptop back now.
Yeah. Okay.
Cheers.
Bye-bye, Simon.
Thanks a
Bye-bye.
lot.
Thanks.
Right then. So we got
What
you
number are we on now?
Councillor Chapman. So we've got number 8. Yes.
Number 8. Just bear with.
Ben, could I just jump in and just say, obviously we've got strategy at 7:15. I will need to go and chair that. That will leave this meeting then no longer core it. So I don't know how you want to play that, or if you think we can get through it in 20 minutes.
Well, let's do this one and we'll see what time it is. I'm not feeling very confident we're going to get through in another 10, but we'll see how we get on there. But yeah, no, we need to finish at 7:15. I agree. Well, we do have to. It's not a matter of opinion. Okay. So, right then. So, Councillor Chapman, as briefly as you would like to, please tell us your thoughts.
I have to. Okay. Well, I've been contacted by Anne Spilestra. She is the widow of PC Eric Spilestra, who we put a bench in, a commemorative bench, not too long ago, for well regarded in the community. She's very lives and supports the police totally. However, she lives in a ground floor flat in the Sycamores, and this development will mean she's housebound. She can only get out to the little courtyard at the back of her garden, and this development actually puts a 2-story development overlooking her ground floor courtyard where she sits most of the time.
Can you just confirm on the sorry, Barry, can you confirm where exactly?
She's at number 8, the Sycamores, which is immediately next to where this 2-story development is. So the two stories will block out the light from Anne's courtyard. It also has windows which overlook her little courtyard. there is a door which gives her particularly concern because it is an unmanned police station, and yet in order to attempt to access that door, the path is at the side of the building, along by the back of her garden, so people could be turning up at all hours, going along the back of her garden to see whether there's anyone in the police station. So unfortunately, she's not able to attend the meeting or able to write. So she's been unable to represent herself, and obviously her friends in the police who have been speaking to her about these developments are very, very concerned for the impact on Anne's little flat. She has suggested, because there's no one more supportive of the police and wanting to see a police presence in St Neots, but she has suggested that perhaps it could at least be made a condition that the windows that overlook her flat are opaque, and that the door, the entrance door into this police station, should not be along the side of the building by her garden, but should be at the front of the building. Now, it may be that internal design makes it that they prefer to have it at the side, but it does then create a security risk for her in an area which is very otherwise quiet, apart from sirens from the fire engines. But people-wise is quite a sort of quiet and secluded area. So she's very concerned. I'm not sure. I haven't got a long objection written by her because she's unable to write. She's not well. She's just spent her savings on buying the extending the lease on her flat before this came up. The other flats in the block are all owned by a landlord who lets them and have transitory tenants. So it's only really her that's affected.
Okay, so can we just clarify that the Sycamores is that to the south of the property?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
She's actually written here. Written here on the notes, which I believe one of her police friends have written, that I should make sure that you're aware that the new front door of the fire station police office is on the south elevation.
Okay, could we just jump to those elevations, please, Maxine? Okay, southern. And so there's a door there, and that's so the application is for a two-story extension to the northwest and a single-story extension to the southeast. So I'm slightly confused about the two-story, moving up to two-story will affect her access to light, because it sounds like the only part that is two-story is at the northwest of the building. Now, I don't know if I've quite got my head around exactly which part of this is new.
I haven't been along to look at it. I'm just looking at what the notes are that are being sent me.
Okay.
Presumably, it must be the white door to the right-hand side.
I didn't catch. Go on, Colin, again. Sorry.
Presumably, from that other view we had, there was a white door to the right-hand side.
Sorry, I've lost
So we've got revised proposed elevations.
Yeah, there. The middle elevation, that white door to the right.
Yeah.
Presumably is the one that's in question, and I can't see any reason why we couldn't insist that that's obscure glass.
If I may, Colin, that looks like a window. The door is over here. The double door is here.
Oh, it's that one there. Okay.
Yeah, so I think that's the door that's opposite the Sycamores. But is that already two-story there? That's what I'm trying to understand. So there's two issues, one of which is... Let's have a look.
So
Do we know
this
the
is-
purpose of this extension?
Chair, can I?
Go for it.
The intention is to close down the current police station, presumably for redevelopment, and to put an office here at the fire station so that the police have somewhere to interview suspects, I believe, or whatever, without taking them back to Huntingdon. That's my understanding of it.
Okay, thank you. So I think that a single story addition to the southeast, I think that means moving from 1 story to 2 stories by the looks of the plans compared to the existing on street view. So currently it's single story throughout, and the building to the south of where the fire engines park up. Yeah, so there we go. That's the street. The western elevation is the view from the street. So you've got a single story, and then if you can jump please to proposed, and find that's the western elevation again. Yeah, so it's moved to a 2 story effectively to the south of the vehicle garages, and then a single story. I don't know how near to the boundary that is. So it's basically 2 story, but it's not 2 story right up to the edge of the building, according to that western elevation.
No, I believe it's the angle there, and the fact that it's a southern boundary.
Yeah. Would you mind calling up the site plan, please, Maxine?
You got that one or
Yeah,
this one?
actually no, the other one was better, isn't it? Location plan. Yeah, so that existing, or that to me looks like proposed. So I'm thinking that the 2 story building is the new one to the front of the building, effectively in that block there, and then behind it looks like it remains single story, because if you look at the western elevation, you've got
that's right. Yes, I agree with you there. The western elevation shows the right hand side as a single story.
Yeah, so basically the new, effectively that's a new build 2 story building sort of onto the front of the building. So for me, I think the issue about overshadowing, don't think is significant. I think having opaque windows would be a very reasonable suggestion if that's not really taken into account for anything that's going to be overlooking. But I think we could do that as a condition. In terms of the position of this is interesting. Okay.
So this is revised proposed. I'm just trying to see if I can help you by finding
the
existing.
So so looking at street view, essentially the front of the building is in line with the front of the garage door. So all of that new front extension, the 2 story front, the 2 story front extension is all new. And then you've got the lecture room, which is effectively the same footprint as the existing building. So where is this new door?
Well, there is one there coming off the gym a bit further up. So the double entrance is down at the bottom of that image.
Yeah.
And then near the top of the image, Maxine, you just scroll past it, but there's the gym. So above the lecture room, keep going up. There you go. You can see the gym. And there's a door that opens out, unless there's a suggestion that's where it's
public. No,
that might be, but that seems an odd place to put a public-facing door.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with that. So from what my understanding, the 2 story building is essentially new and is at the front of the existing building. So effectively it's on what is currently grass, a front lawn. And that side door, although it does face towards the residential building, it won't, effectively it's just, it's proud of the street scene. Now, is that going to impact on the neighbours there?
I don't think it does.
To be honest, I think it's actually, looking at the street view again, it looks like it's the only thing it faces is a brick wall at the side of the neighbouring property, so it's not impacting on. Yeah, so effectively that wall that this front extension, I'm wiggling my mouse completely pointlessly, but yeah, so the wall that door faces is just a brick wall. There's no windows at all so of the sycamores, there's kind of a very flat U shape, but the left edge if you move your cursor to the no, up a bit and then left a bit, so that wall there, there's no windows on that wall. That's just the side of the property. So for me, I can understand the residents' concern, but I'm tempted to say that they're unfounded in terms of the impact of any members of the public having any opportunity to look into or otherwise interfere with the residents' privacy.
I think I agree with you there, Ben.
Yeah.
I'm interested to know Councillor Chapman's thoughts on this as you brought this to attention.
Well, Chair, I've not been able to visit the property, and I've not therefore been able to put the plans in perspective. But I am aware that the resident has had members of the police force who obviously can't represent her on this, but members of the police force who have said that that door would create a security risk to her garden. And
I don't know that we can accept
the
that,
windows
Ben, do
are
you?
overlooking her property, but
No.
their knowledge of it is much better than mine.
Yeah, so I think, you know, I don't want us to miss a trick here and miss out on a resident's well-founded concerns if they are indeed so. However, I think from as much as we're able to ascertain from what we have in front of us, I think for me, I'm relatively satisfied that there isn't an issue. I mean, all I can see, yeah, so basically the new property is going to be on the lawn, as it, you know, what is currently the front lawn. And so the side door will be, you know, halfway down the lawn facing that brick wall, rather than the backyards to the property, to the sycamores, which is behind that tree effectively. I mean, all I can suggest is that we follow, you know, our instincts based on what we understand now, and it would be worth Councillor Chapman writing to the HUC planning officers just to make sure that they're aware that this concern has been raised, and they can have a second, you know, sets of eyes on it to make sure that they're satisfied with that issue as well.
Could we make a comment around some type of enhanced security? So, you know, potentially like additional CCTV down covering that door. I mean, I'm sure they'll have it anyway, but you know, perhaps something covering her. I don't know. Is there something that could be compromised on that to meet her personal concerns?
I'm not sure of any planning condition that we can set along those lines.
But Barry, maybe that's something. If you do take this representation further forward, you could.
Chair, if I may,
go for it.
I believe that the police would be receptive to ideas on how this can be better improved for the resident in question, for Anse Palestra, because although they feel that they need this building and it's being strategically driven, I think in particular they feel they owe a duty of care to the nearby residents.
Yeah, I totally understand that. I think the issue that we're faced with is exactly what do we, you know, how do we reasonably and accurately convey that in this planning meeting?
I think, Chair, if there was something expressing a concern about doors opening at the side near the, I mean, I was told it was an office door, an interview office door that was opening on that side, and I'm surprised because I haven't been able to see the plans before this evening. It's a little bit small on my iPad, but it appears that that's a gym, or am I?
No, that was the other door further up. This one enters onto the proposed police consultation office. So I think that lines up with what you've described, Barry.
Yeah.
I assume that gym door is a fire exit or something similar.
Yeah. If you scroll up, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I think to have a public door at the side is a bit of a, you know, shouldn't really be, I think.
Okay, I think we are running out of time.
And if the windows could be opaque.
Okay, so members of the committee, do we have a proposal that we'd like to word up together? So we can either do recommend it for rejection or for approval, or approval with amendments. So one thing we could do is ask for the front door to be moved to the front of the building. I think we might also, you know, wish to seek reassurance that the gym door is not for public access, although I think that is fairly self-evident.
I'm not sure. So, I mean, I'm happy to recommend it for approval, and I think the point around the opaque glass, I assume we're talking about frosted glass rather than blocking out the windows.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, I think the proposal around that is entirely reasonable. The point on the door, there could be a point in the recommendation around the alternatives to move the door to the front are investigated, but I think it would be too strongly worded to say that our approval is subject to.
Okay.
Sorry, if you can make something out of that.
I second that, Rob.
Okay,
That sounds
so
quite sensible.
We're recommending for approval, subject to the use of frosted
Obscured
windows,
glass.
obscured glass.
Thank you. Yeah.
On all south-facing windows, with the potential to have to be overlooking the neighbouring property.
Yeah.
I think that's almost normal English.
Not as we know it, but it's good enough.
Yeah,
Ben.
good enough.
Good enough for a teacher.
Okay, so take a vote on. So I think that's proposed and seconded. All those in favour?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, that's carried.
And you've got the comments already.
Yeah, I don't think we need to complicate it with any further comments. So go on.
Aaron wants us to move on a bit quickly.
Yeah, well, absolutely. We've only now got 3 minutes for quite a few items. Sorry, folks, this is what happens when you hand over to me.
I don't know if you saw in the chat, but we had 3 plans that already had extensions requested, so we won't get a second extension.
Fine.
That's number 1, number 2, and number 4. If you're able to get those done, I have logged on to the strategy meeting, Rob, and let them know that we're going to be over as quick as we can. So if you can try and crack on with those 3, and then we'll defer and request extensions for the rest.
Let's do it. Number 1, so trees, horse chestnuts times 4, and this is reduce height. I'm happy to
propose this is acceptable.
Is it acceptable subject to the arboreal report like we normally do, or we just found it acceptable?
Is that all right with you, Colin?
Yep, absolutely.
Okay, so approved subject to approval by the arboricultural officer. Nominated, seconded. All in favour?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, that's great.
Thank you.
Number 2 is another tree application. So we have sycamore tree. We want to reshape as the driveway side, and the roadside have got real long lateral branches, really long maybe.
Yeah, approved subject to the report. Sorry.
Yeah, that's fine by me. Happy with that, Colin?
Absolutely, I'll go with that.
Forward and seconded. All those in favour? Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, that's great. And number 4 is to take down part of an existing garage and alter the remaining part of the garage into a utility room, cloakroom, and an entrance hall. Raise the remaining garage flat roof higher by approximately 300 millimetres to obtain a 2.4 metre ceiling height in the new area. This is at 8 Clover Road, Eaton Soken. Right, I can't say I followed all of that. So we're taking down part of the existing garage, alter the remaining part. So this is
not the first one to do this, Ben.
Yeah, I'm trying to work out what the external differences are rather than just internal. So we've got raise the remaining garage flat roof higher by 300 mil to create a 2.4 metre ceiling height in the new part of the building. So basically, turning
I propose this is acceptable.
Yeah, second.
Okay, I'm happy with that too. So all those in favour? Yes. Okay, that's approved. Thank you very much for giving us a bit of.
Before we close, Ben, can we just we'll just let members know. So plans on the schedule number 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and 13 will be deferred to the next meeting, and we'll contact HDC for extensions.
Thank you.
Thank
we might need to call an extra meeting, I think, because there's quite a few, and if we've got the same number again.
Yes.
I know it's more time out of everyone's lives, but there's no point in getting in the same situation next time. Okay, we'll call the meeting adjourned. Thank you very
Cool.
much.
Thank
Thanks,
you,
everybody.
gentlemen. Thank you.
Cheers.
I'll be 2
Everybody.
minutes. I've got to
Yeah.
go get a drink.
Yeah, cool. Thanks a lot,
very much.
everybody.
Thank you. Thank
Thanks,
you.
Zoe,
Thanks,
Karen,
everyone.
Maxine. Really
Bye.
appreciate
You're
it.
welcome.
Thank you, everybody.
Right, bye. Bye.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, Zoe.